Sure. Hey, Courtney. It's kind of crazy that it's already here, SEC tournament time, but you're headed down there and it really has the feel of a mini College World Series, I think, this year. Just kind of what's your thought on uh how loaded just that's gonna be down there?
Well, it's loaded every year. So um I think it's always just a top-notch event. I think the SEC does a good job. I think ESPN does a good job. So you get there and you immediately have this postseason feel, which I think is going to be huge for our team with just our freshmen, our younger ones, of just kind of getting that feel and getting to experience that, get it under their, kind of under their belt a little bit. It's loaded. It's loaded every year. This conference this year was crazy tough. It is every year, but like this year, it felt like magnified. Um, Almost, I wouldn't say suffocating, but it's just like it was just I don't know. It's just like years past on steroids. So I would expect the same out of the conference tournament. There's some really big matchups tomorrow. I'm excited to watch some of them. I always like when teams that didn't match up in the regular season matchup, and so you just know you're going to get a really high level of softball, just really good competition, and so I'm excited. It'll be good.
To roll into it having won six conference series in a row and just, I mean, six very tough conference series. Like you played five of the six were top 10. For your team to do that, what do you think, I guess for them was there a certain point you can point at you're like that's when it started clicking and you just think that they kind of took off?
Yeah, well, I think it clicked for us coming out of, I mean, we played Oklahoma. We played Ole Miss and Oklahoma, which was not a great couple weeks for us. And even coming out of Oklahoma, we played UCA in a midweek, and it wasn't a great game for us either. And we really kind of went at them. We challenged them. We kind of called them out on some stuff, and it was like, okay, this is either going to go well, and we're going to turn it around, or we're not. Like I think that's coaching. Sometimes you just kind of try to push the right buttons and see how they respond. And um, we pushed them to be better. We pushed them to answer the challenge. We pushed them to have more personality. They're kind of boring. Like I'm like, man, good, like just kind of showcase who they were a little bit more. And they answered that. So I know that at that point we were coming out of UCA. It's just like, man, that wasn't a good feeling either. We're going on the road to play Tennessee at Tennessee. At that point, they were 7. You're digging in on 75 plus and Carlin Pickens. We're like, oh, great, but that week was our turning point. That week was where we really came together, and we've stayed together since. We've had days like Friday was another day where we're like, dang, it almost had that Ole Miss feel. We couldn't do anything right. It was like, what are we going to do? How are we going to answer this on Saturday? And they did. They came out stronger, and we needed that. And so yeah, I'm proud of them. I'm proud of them winning our last 6 SEC series. Um, it was a grind, but they stayed together. They fought their butts off, didn't care what it looked like, which you can't care what it looks like. You just have to figure out a way to win. And so just have a lot of tools and a lot of lessons that we've learned along the way to take into postseason.
Last thing I'll ask for now is Reagan Kramer's the president, the president of it, but your whole team is pretty picky this year, like with just what pitches they go after. I mean, the walk totals are high for a lot of players. Reagan Johnson, I think, has her career high in walks. Just what has that taken to get this lineup to where they really are patient like that?
Well, I think our training just they have a really good understanding of what a ball and a strike is. And and I think that the thing that offsets that is just being really ready when it shows up. Just hunting those pitches and just being really disciplined. And I think it also helps to just have a ton of confidence in knowing you can hit in any count and any pitch. And so you don't necessarily get outside yourself a lot, which is really, really huge. Um, so I also think Zooms feel really small, so maybe that's part of it too. But I don't know. I think our players are um, they're trained really well, they're prepared really well, and they have a ton of confidence. So it shows up in controlling your zone a lot.
Courtney?
Yeah, coach, I know last week you were number two in the nation by Softball America, and you said, oh, we don't really look at the polls. We just don't. We focus on what we're doing. And so now you're number one in that poll by Softball America. Is it any kind of, I know you don't care about them, and the team, they don't really focus about them, but does it really matter at all that you're number one in that poll going into this SEC tournament? Does it give you any more confidence as a team?
Does it give us more confidence? No. You know, because I think we sit there and we're like, we're not going to give a ton of weight to the praise and we're not going to give much weight to the criticism. And we know who we are in our circle. It is exciting. It is exciting to be two. It is exciting to be one. I think what that tells us now, I mean, we also know that we're going to maybe be 1-1 and we might be 8-1. That's softball this year is when the one has changed the last 5 weeks. I think what that says is the strength of softball across the board is at as high as it's ever been. And we get to be part of that, which is really huge. I think the takeaway for me and for our team is what that says is I think we know we can beat anybody in the country. And I think that that's what that says too, is we think they can beat anybody in the country. We also could lose to anybody in the country. That's softball. And so I think that it's exciting. I'm not going to take away from it. It's first time in program history in any poll, but we don't give too much weight to the high or the low that we hear. So we're just pretty in tune with our circle.
Do you think that that's kind of been the mentality of this team this entire year? We've talked about it so many times, but you guys, it really is. You guys have been focusing on yourselves. Was that kind of a message going in from Friday to Saturday a little bit as well? With when you kind of said, "Hey, this team, I haven't seen this from this team this year, and they've looked really uncharacteristic," and then to go in and win the series on Saturday, how? I mean, that's been this team's kind of makeup this entire year. Would you say, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was absolutely the thing coming out of Friday is like this team tonight was like unrecognizable. Like we lost our minds. I don't know who we were. And that was the disappointment, not the outcome, but the disappointment was who we were in the battle. It's not who we had been. And so it was the question of like, hey, whether we win or lose tomorrow, like we better show up and be us. Like that's what we need to do. We can control that. Like no one made, and so I really loved the answer. Obviously, when you know win the series 6-0 and you shut out LSU for the first time of the year and you just scratch and claw for your runs and fight and just so composed and just getting back to who we were so quickly. I was really, really pleased. But that's the character that this team has shown throughout of just, being mindful of like what we want it to look like and who we're going to be. And so I was proud of them.
Thanks, Coach. That's all I have. I'll turn it over to whoever else.
Thank you.
Coach, obviously you've gone through it all in SEC tournaments. You know what it takes to win a championship. What are the keys for a team to be successful this week?
Well, focus on where your feet are, be where your feet are this week and throughout the postseason is just, not getting ahead of yourself, focusing on who you play, but then also focusing on what I just said of like who we are and how we're gonna play the game and how we're gonna fight and just doing whatever it takes. It takes what it takes, and at this time of year, it doesn't matter. It takes what it takes, and so I think that's the message kind of moving forward. So we're going to focus on Kentucky or Georgia. We're going to get ready for both of them. We get to get there and, see who we play and prep for that and just take it, one pitch at a time, one inning at a time, one game at a time. Just lean into each other.
Obviously, how would you feel the year has gone with the Oklahoma Texas editions? You have the new scheduling and all that, and the tournament with the new tournament format. Has it gone how everybody would thought would be? I mean, what's kind of been the feedback talking to other coaches and everybody? Are you pleased with how things have gone, or you think there's some tweaking to be done?
I think I'm pleased with it. I think it's, I mean, obviously we knew that we are making our very strong conference stronger, the strongest maybe. And so there's not really there wasn't any let up before. There's definitely not now. There's no breath in this conference schedules. I think when we're looking at ours and we're like, Matt's running the numbers, we had the toughest conference schedule. Like, our schedule was insane. And I think that we've made the right decisions for the landscape of this conference. So I am very pleased with how it's gone. I'm pleased with, having a conference tournament that we can put all our teams in because we're really strong and we're good, went from top to bottom. And so I think it's gone well.
When was the turning point where you saw this team like kind of go? You knew it was going in this direction after. Was it during the Oklahoma series? Was it shortly after? Was it before? When was that moment? Because obviously you've been, you've earned the rankings that you're getting because of the stellar play you've had over the last 6 weeks. But when did it kind of click for everybody? Where you was like, ooh, okay, we're in a good spot now.
Well, I know the turning point was going into the Tennessee series. So the Oklahoma, UCA, and then going into the Tennessee series. But you sometimes too are like, okay, we got back on track. Are we going to sustain that? Or is that who we're going to be? Is that what we're going to do and be consistent to that? And so I think when you look at the Tennessee series and then you look at Florida and you like starting to see this team consistently fight against such great competition on the road, everyone's like, oh, you're so good on the road. I'm like, you're going at SEC series, SEC season. It's like, yeah, our teams in the past have been good on the road. I hope this one's good too, and so I think just the consistency in which they showed up and they fought. I think you feel that turning point going into Tennessee, coming out of that Tennessee weekend, and then you fast forward 2 more weekends, and you're like, okay, this team really does have what it takes to play tough competition day in and day out and bring it day in and day out. Have the resilience of not having have a heartbreaking loss or have a loss like Friday where it gets away from you and you give it, okay, that's one still, let's turn the page and let's be better the next day. So I would say probably obviously that Tennessee series, but I'd focus on that Florida series too. Just, okay, we can sustain this.
Your arms, obviously, going to need all your arms this week. Everybody does. You need arms to get through a week like this. How do you feel where your arms are at, especially with Peyton coming off that great start Saturday? Because in a blessing in disguise, you kind of used a lot of your arms this weekend. So where are they now heading to this SEC tournament?
I think we're good. I think that's the nice thing is kind of really looking at all that. It's like, we've really managed the workload really well. They all feel good. I think we need to fine tune some things. Obviously, we got a little bit outside ourselves this past weekend, more self-induced than anything. And so just kind of getting us back in that right mindset, but knowing that we have the right stuff. We have them in a really good physical spot. We have them in a good mental spot. And so I don't know that I could have always said that with teams in the past, but we've managed this workload pretty well and they're all ready to go.
There'll be a lot of noise this week. As you mentioned, ESPN doing all the games. There's going to be talk about national seedings and all that stuff. For your younger players, is that something you talk to them about? Do you tell them to block it all out? Or do you lean on your veteran leaders to kind of talk to them about all that?
We'll talk about it a little bit. We'll lean on our veteran leaders. They don't have the ability to block it out. And so if they just don't, this age, it's a really unique, player that can actually do that. And so I think it's just managing it more than anything and making sure that we're all on the same page when it comes to that. Our veteran leadership has been extremely good all year. And so we will definitely rely on them through this as well. Where do you have us, Eric? Let me turn the questions on you.
Sure.
What's your latest prediction? What's going to happen?
What do you want to know?
Where are we going to fall?
Well, you're hosting.
Who are we going to get? Well, I know we're hosting. We better.
Yeah, you're gonna be hosting pretty high seed. I have to look it up what's your highest seed ever, but you'd be right around that. You could be challenging that.
Who do you think we're gonna get?
Oh, I don't know if you want me to tell you that right now. I mean, it's a bus team. You're gonna get a team to bus, probably, depending what happens.
A team to bust. What do you mean?
It's a team that can bus to your place, 400 miles. So it's
Oh,
like,
could bust. Yeah.
yeah. So just think who
I
can
thought you
bus to
said
you.
bust, and I'm like, wow, that's rude.
Bus. No, bus, bus,
Yeah.
bus.
You have us getting OSU?
Yeah, that's probably what you would get.
We'll see.
But again,
Ethan,
that's just me.
I know it's going to be interesting because I'm just wondering if all the seeds will host.
Hey, it's gonna be wild.
Yeah,
A lot of softball to go.
a lot of softball to go. Some big games out ahead of us that can make or break for a few. So it'll be interesting. Crazy year.
Ain't kidding.
So okay. Okay, I'll get you out of the hot seat, Eric.
Thank you.
Ethan, you want to wrap us up here?
yeah, not to kill all the bracket talk, but to kill it. Your Peyton was just kind of the latest example of it, but your freshman, you knew this year that you'd need them to be fearless in the league. I mean, Cam, her last game at Florida, think of that. Ella's, frankly, her entire conference season, and then Peyton. Just what have you thought about their way? Now you're heading into SEC tournament that they've proven at this point now, like, hey, I mean, they aren't freshmen at this point, is what it seems like.
No, I think they graduated from that a little while ago. Especially with just how we've relied on them and how we've trusted them. So I think they've had to grow up pretty quickly. I think in that process, they learned some pretty tough lessons, and just continued to push through that. They're human, so they're still going to have some of those, but I just think that it's a snapshot of the team. Is just like they've learned some really big lessons, and we have a lot of lessons and growth that we've made through this year that we get to take into the postseason now. And so I like where we're at. I like where they're at. I like how they've just put their head down and just continued to work and trust themselves, and it's big time.
And I know you like we talked about the poll, how it matters, but it doesn't type of deal. But for the program to get that type of recognition from where you started, I know we talk about your first team a lot a decade ago, but for those players that maybe were on teams that didn't have this type of success, like how just I guess rewarding is it to know that those players that came before kind of set the foundation of where the program can be where it is now.
Oh, it's absolutely they've built it into this. We had players come early that just trusted what we thought the program can do, and trusted our vision, and then came and played in a way that not only put our vision in motion, but played in a way that not only recruits wanted to sign on because of how we played and who we are, but our fan base connected to it. And so each year we've been really fortunate to get a group of athletes that fit in our system, want to come leave their mark here, want to continue to come move the program forward. But where we are right now doesn't happen if the Autumn Storms, Hannah McEwen's, Mary Half's, Sydney Parr, that group that came, Hannah Gamble, Lenny Malk, I can keep going. If they don't come here and play in a way that recruits and fans and everybody could attach to, then we aren't here. And so everything that we've done here is because of the players that came and took a chance on us.
That it? Thank you, guys. Appreciate you. Have a great day.
Thank you.